So first and foremost, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. And I want to begin our journey into this album by asking you, how does it feel? What was kind of the vision for this album?
The vision started a few years ago, and we technically we've been really influenced by the period, of the recent years, the everything who happened in the last, 5, 6 years, and we started from this. Basically with this sense of social loss because the lockdowns, first, and of course the return to this general also war situation after years, of pacifism, activism, so we uh, we do a lot of tour, and we really like to talk about, what's happening around the world. And in top of that, we were really, afflicted by this social indifference that is goes all around, and so we start thinking about all these things, put together all these things, 3 4 years ago, and we say, oh, maybe now it's time to do something new, maybe a new album, and say something, to our fans, our audience, something like that. So it was really, I think it happened really spontaneously, I have to say, it happened in the right moment. And even because the previous album was released during the pandemic, in 2020. So we were really kind of, frustrated because we really could, promote the album in the best way. And we felt like the album happened, in the wrong time, So I think this album has something to say, from Pericops.
What are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
You mean the audience? You mean the
Yeah.
listener? Oh, I have to say that, I mean, this album is from everyone. It's not just an album from, jazz musician or from, jazz audience. Is an album that want to talk to really to everyone, because there is a lot of message inside. There is a lot of consideration about um, what point the humanity is now, and considering, this longer transition of the human, through different elements. So we have the network, this reality, augmented reality, the artificial emotion. Every day there is something new, is we have this big dogma of the algorithm that condition, our life, condition our, phone, the social, everything, and also, we did a little exploration of the political situation, about the post-truth, the freedom of speaking now, today. And so we dedicate even some songs to really important, character. And mostly of all was this increasing of, I can say, this dependence of the system, we're living now. And I think all these things really came together really fast, compared to 15 or 20 years ago. It's like we woke up and the world is kind of changed, And so that's why we say, oh, good morning. I mean, what's
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah.
Something.
So take me back to your beginnings. How did jazz become your life? Who have been some influences on you?
Oh, wow. I mean, the jazz came uh, um, later, I have to say, to be honest. I mean, personally, I comes from um, a family musician, but all the band comes from, a family musician, parents, so the music was around. I mean, and my family was more focused on the classical music, and I was interested in classical music, so my study were, classical music. But I live in a city which is Parma in Italy, and it's a city with a huge tradition of opera and classical music, stuff like Pavarotti, stuff like that, So
Yeah.
that was my imprinting first, So coming from this kind of reality, and the jazz came really later. I have to say, when kind of I fight through against this tradition. So I start to listen to more rock, more experimental music, punk, metal, rap, everything. I have to say a lot of, a lot of different style of music. I consider myself more crossover in this way, And I found in the jazz really one of the, I can say, really uh, perfect island where to live and where to develop my creativity, because uh, I started with the classical jazz, especially when I started to study saxophone. But first, I was more, involved into blues and rock and roll band, when I was teenager, playing this kind of music. And finally, when I took the music more seriously and the study of music, um, you know, is when I approached to the jazz in a different, different way, and kind of, all these inputs became something in your head, and is when they helps to develop, your own sense of creativity in terms of composing and improvising in different ways, So the way to I can say, to create something, that doesn't sound like, Jazz Messenger or Pavarotti or Louis Core, whatever, but it sounds like what you are and what you come from, and especially what you want to live to the future, So that's why for me, jazz means, be more artistic in the music, more artistic way, So I found in the jazz kind of the best, I can say, discipline uh, to do that, to be artist in music.
So where exactly in Italy are you located?
Parma,
Okay. So
Parma.
how do the locals, how is Italy embracing jazz?
Oh, I mean, um, Italy has there's different kind of jazz, in Italy. I mean, we have a lot of great tradition of, the American jazz, the classical jazz, that comes after the Second War, and we had really famous, really big name. But at the same time, we had this kind of combination of influence from the European jazz, then developed, in the last 50 years, So actually, I have to say, especially in my city, Parma, we have both kind of jazz, there is a part really more focused, more oriented to the European jazz, which takes different kind of music, different kind of jazz, even from you know uh, Norwegian jazz, ECM production. They mix all things together, experimental jazz, and but I feel like in Italy is people is more divided. They really like to tag a style of jazz, so they really needs to have that kind of festival more focus on that style of jazz and that club, they're kind of a little bit afraid to experiment more something which could be more Italian, more experimental. They like to import more music, more kind of jazz from other countries. So sometimes, even with this project, sometimes we have to fight because they don't really know, they don't really understand where this music, this kind of jazz has to be located,
Yeah.
sometimes is not enough jazz, sometimes it's not enough rock, sometimes it's not enough crossover, So we're in the middle, in the middle. And sometimes they say, oh, that's the best way to be jazz, because jazz is today is when you don't know where to locate, where to tag a a specific style of jazz, but that's what's happening in Italy. I mean, from my point of view.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you like the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What do you look forward to?
Mm, you mean me personally?
Yeah.
Oh, to sorry, to be a jazz musician, you mean?
Yeah, to be a musician, what do you like the best about it?
Oh, I think it's to be musician. I mean, to be musician or jazz musician. I mean, I feel like to be a jazz musician is especially to have some space where you can create and you can offer your music to the audience. So to have more space, more club stuff like that is this in Italy is really hard because we don't have so many club like in States or like New York. It's totally different. So the I would love to have more, space. That's why, when I promote the project, we tour a lot abroad, because we use Italy as a base, but we travel around. And I mean, I switch to many kind of style of music personally. I do also, some pop rock production, also production for theater, and different style of music. So I really like to play different kind of music. I don't play classical music because I'm not a classical musician,
Yeah.
but sometimes I tour with the pop name, a big name like that, and you play in stadium. Other times you play in club with 10 people and you play your music, experimental music, and which is fantastic, and but I mean, in Italy, being musician means to you have to be really flexible with the style of music.
Yeah.
Uh, so you have to be ready for playing here, there, big band, pop music, reading, recording, and which is fun for me. It's very fun, and this is what we do. All the other band members, they have their own career, and they do different kind of jazz, different style of music. But sometimes you lost a lot of energy when you spend energy to play for many other things, many other projects, and sometimes it's really hard to stay focused in one project, and especially to keep the project longer over the years, so that's really hard. There is a lot of projects that they start and then after 4 or 5 years they
Yeah.
disappear. That's really hard, so I consider myself pretty lucky because I have three projects that really work, working in the last 10, 15 years, so we see what's happened. But
Yeah. So the new album is Good Morning World. If anyone wants to get a copy, where's the best place to go? Or to find out about any live shows or anything else going on, where do they go?
oh, for now the album is available on digital, and is also physical. We have a Bandcamp.
Okay.
We print vinyl, for this album.
Yeah.
So old style, I have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But yeah, the album is everywhere, and um, now we are touring Europe, so we are more focused on the specific country like French, Germany. We just went back from 2 weeks in Germany. We did Berlin, a lot of city, and we're going to Paris in a couple of weeks. We did Italy last November. We did a 10 show in Italy. It was pretty good. And so we're in kind of the second part of the tour. And the third part will be in October. So we play more in the rest of North Germany. Probably we go north to France, hopefully Spain, something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're very busy. We can't really stay on tour for months. And so we just, we have to break, the tour, split the tour in different parts, even because we're busy with teaching, with all the stuff. We are all busy with these things, and so for now only Europe, but I hope we can, maybe back to States in the future. I don't know, and do
Yeah.
some
We'd
shows.
love it. Yeah, we would absolutely love it. Man,
Yeah.
hey, it's been so great to meet you, to talk about the album, to talk about your life and music. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, really.
Joe
Thank
Domino here, host of KC's Neon Jazz Radio. On International Jazz Day, April 30th, join us at the Music Hall in downtown Kansas City for the event of the year, 90 Years of Count Basie's Swing. At 7 p.m., the world-famous Count Basie Orchestra takes the stage. From 5 to 7 p.m., it's a VIP reception with jazz legends and honorees. Finally, from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., join the after-party jam session at Lonnie's Reno Club inside the Ambassador Hotel. Tickets are moving fast. Get yours now at kccreativecity.com/count-basie. This event is part of International Jazz Day, supported by the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, with Kansas City proudly standing as America's only creative city of music. I'll see you there, Kansas City.